Welcome to another empowering episode of Level Up and Live, the podcast where we're all about elevating your mindset, crushing self-doubt, and unlocking your full potential. I'm your host, Sean Myers, joined by my co-host, Ewan. And today's topic is a game changer. We're diving deep into the art of overcoming self-doubt and building unshakable confidence. So buckle up and get ready for a transformational ride. We've got a power-packed episode lined up for you, featuring 5 practical tips and exercises that will turbocharge your self-confidence. Before we jump into the good stuff, let's set the stage for success. Remember, being a front seater in the theater of life is all about making eye contact, walking 25% faster, speaking up, and of course, flashing that winning smile. It's time to embrace the power of presence. Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty of boosting your confidence. Whether you're looking to own the boardroom, crush that presentation, or simply radiate positive vibes wherever you go, we've got your back. Stick around to the end because we've got an action-packed treasure chest of free guides and planners waiting for you in the show notes. Plus, don't forget to leave us a review, hit that subscribe button, and share this episode with a friend who could use a confidence boost. Together, let's level up and live our best lives.
I think it was 2016 or 2017. There was a big hospital that it was in my territory, and I have my quota, need to build relationships, close deals. And I remember looking at this big hospital, and I was still relatively new. It might have been 2015 at what I was doing, speaking to C-suite people, directors of departments, respiratory, NICU, materials, supply chain. I don't know any of these things. I don't have a clue. Biomed, I didn't even know what a biomed was. But I remember seeing this hospital, and it was so intimidating. I thought to myself, a number of times I drove past it many times. I was like, how am I ever going to win this business? How am I going to go in there and speak to these highly professional people and convince them to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars with me every single month? How am I going to do that? And it was just demoralizing. And many times I just keep driving, man. Just keep driving. I don't have it figured out. I'm confident in many other areas, sold my whole life, different things. But this, I don't see a path. I don't see a way. And the self-consciousness of me going in there, trying to start a conversation, and it just going south quickly, being asked to leave or kicked out. Actually, you're not allowed to be in there. I wasn't supposed to be there. And so I remember going, and I had plucked up the courage, went in through the front door into like the front area of the hospital. And I just looked up at the ceiling, and this is massive building, people buzzing around everywhere. There's corridors, halls, and there's people stopping people. And I'm like, I just walked right back out. I'm like, I don't even know where to go. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm saying. And so I went back out to the car, and I went somewhere else that day, somewhere I was more comfortable going, seeing somebody I already knew. And so I can't remember the exact sequence, but I remember I kept chipping away. I started to understand. I went back in. I got a little further next time I went in. And then I had been working for maybe 12 months and was building relationships, started getting a little bit of business. But the real key was to go find the decision maker in the back. And there was locked doors, closed doors, didn't know how to get there. I remember me and you went to lunch one time at Salada, and I was like, and this was before coaching or any of that kind of stuff. We were just kind of getting our feet. And you said, and I was like, man, I really, you didn't even say anything. You just were a soundboard for me. I was just saying, I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. And you were like, I can't remember what you said, but the feeling, the vibe that you said to do it in, I was like, you know what, man? I think I slammed my hand down. I drove down there, and I went through the back door, through the loading dock, which is highly illegal, and not illegal, but you shouldn't go in the back, right? Because that's like credentials only type thing. But I went in the back, and I was like, I'm not leaving. I stormed in, and I saw the material supply chain director, and I was like, hey, my name's Ewan. And she's like, what are you doing here? And I was like, I'm just coming to say hello and introduce myself. And she's like, get out. And I was like, okay, nice to see you. Boom, left. But it was from that moment onwards, like, I didn't die, didn't kill me.
That's right.
And I came back to see her over and over and over. And it wasn't but 18 months later, closed that account, kicked out a massive competitor. Wow. They actually went out of business because of that in the Houston area. Wow. And wrapped that deal up, and it was just beautiful. Now I walk around that place like I own it, like waving, shaking hands, kissing babies kind of thing, and the self-confidence. So look where that went. Sheer insecurity, self-doubt to self-confidence. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Self-confidence, how to get away from your doubts and fears. And I'm saying all that, Sean, What's your take on that? Do you remember that conversation?
I don't.
You don't? We've had many conversations like that.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing you say is the biggest thing I think is what a lot of people is like, how can I be more confident? How can I be more willing to to do things that I want to do, right? Have those conversations, the conversations that you don't want to have, get out of your comfort zone. The uncertainty is taking action, right? Failing forward.
Absolutely.
And so was it perfect on the steps that you took? No, absolutely. But you opened up the car door, you went in the building, you got in the front door, you started asking the questions, and I'm sure every part of your body was just feeling uncomfortable.
Yeah, almost froze.
Exactly.
Adrenaline.
Yeah, but taking that action is created over time. The consistency, I always say this to my team and people around me, is consistency plus execution equals success. Mm-hmm. You can even say consistency plus execution equals confidence, right? Because it's the continuous actions.
Do you remember a time like that for you when you were, what was one for you?
Here recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What was it?
So just to give context, right? We said it in the intro, but just for the audience and listeners listening, the 5 tips that we're going to be covering today is be a front seater, make eye contact, walk 25% faster, speak up, and smile big, right? And so we're going to dive deep on each one of these. So hang tight, especially the one at the end. This is going to be a huge one as far as the cherry on top. But for me, it was this past weekend, Sunday. We go to the Ark Church here in Conroe. And one of the things I'm reading a book, it's called The Magic of Thinking Big. And so in this book, you're sitting here going like, this guy's going to talk about goals. He's going to talk about doing big things, but it's not, right? What he's really talking about is belief in yourself, self-worth, confidence, eliminating self-doubt, right? Which allows you to think big. Yeah. It's interesting and it's insightful.
Real quick, that you just hearing that, you describing that, it's like the self-limitation. Yeah. Is an invisible prison that when you don't believe, you are caught in this little box that you can't see out of, and it's not real. Like when you have that belief, it expanded, and how big can your belief go?
Right.
There literally is no limits except for the limits that you put on it. So, and what we're talking about right now is the key to, if there was anything you wanted in life or wanted to do and thought you couldn't. This is the conversation right here.
Yeah. And so this is our first tip, and I'll align this with the story that I was sharing, is be a front seater. And what that means is like events that you go to. And for us, it was this past weekend at Sunday at church, the Ark Church. We go 9:30 service. We get there at 9 o'clock. I get my coffee at Summer Moon right before. It's nice and hot, and I sip on it, got the caffeine going through my blood. You walk in, you see people, you wave, you got the big smile on your face. You're just walking like you own the place, right? And so normally me and Kendra and my mom, we sit in the back of church, right? We just want to be those people in the back, just in the comfort zone. It's nice and warm and fuzzy. Back there, sipping my coffee. Nobody's looking at you. Nobody's watching you. I'm reading this book, so I'm feeling inspired, right? And I was like, well, I may seem like a confident person, but I'm a big believer in there's always room for improvement. Yeah. So one of the things it says in the book is to be a front seater. Well, I've never been a front seater at church. Well, guess what we did? I said, Kendra, Mom, let's go to the front row of church at the Ark Church.
That's awesome, dude.
Right? There's hundreds, if not thousands of people there, right? Yeah. And Kendra's looking at me like, are you sure? Are you okay? Let me check your temperature. Mom's like, are you sure? Okay. Sean, it's a little weird. I was like, yep, we're going to the front seats. We walked all the way up there. Everybody's looking at us. There's nobody on the front row, Ewan. Nobody on the front row. Front row.
Nobody goes on the
Within
front row.
5, yeah, exactly. Nobody. And when we got up there, people were making comments behind us. They were laughing. They were looking at us like, oh my gosh, hey guys, you're sitting in the front row. You know what this means, right? And we're all like, no, what does it mean? They're like, don't fall asleep. Everybody's going to be watching you. So, we went up there, we owned it, and I kid you not, 10 feet to the left of me was the pastor, Pastor Allen. He's sitting in the front row. Yeah. Let that be a sign, right? Yeah. The front row. And so, anyways, we're sitting there, and I'm sitting there the entire time with the biggest smile on my face. I'm like, yeah, we're owning this, right? And so, at the same time, I'm like, dude, I'm kind of nervous. I'm like, this is unknown territory for me. I'm uncertain. Like, what if the camera's on me and I'm falling asleep? Anyways, make the long story short, we went through the service. We didn't die, right? And we made it, and it felt good. Yeah. And I could see myself doing that moving forward. But it was just taking the action, putting myself in that uncertainty and in that unknown environment.
Was it being watched by other, what was the fear of being up there? Is it, because a lot of people have that. Yeah. So what do you think that is? Like, if you could speak to it, like, because you have people watching you all the time on Facebook, social media. You do videos, you do crazy things. Then you don't have a care in the world, or maybe you do, but you know what it takes to push past those things. But this at church, being in the front row, of course, you hadn't done it before, so that's going to be, you don't know what to expect, and there's uncertainty there. So that I would assume that there's some level of fear there. But what was the fear? What is that uncertainty in your mind? Like, there's normally maybe a subconscious picture that we paint in our minds of, maybe they're going to ask me to sing a song in front of us, or they're going to ask me a question. I'm not like, what was it for you?
Yeah. I think it was, the first thing that pops in my mind is doing something that I wasn't familiar with doing. So I was used to every Sunday we were sitting in the same chair, Ewan. Yeah. We literally would sit, and if you looked around, I would see people in there that I would see every Sunday. They're sitting in the same chair. We are creatures of habit. We are human beings. And that right there does not build confidence. That does not build self-worth. That is the comfort zone. That will take you out of confidence. That will pull away from your self-worth, right? Because then you're in that familiar, you're just dying. If you're not growing, you're dying. And that's the way I attach that to confidence. And this is just leveling up. If you're listening to this, that was just one of the things that I wanted to plug myself into, is I want to be in the front row. And so whether I feel like it or not, it's part of it. Like that's kind of how I want to live and do the hard things every chance I get.
So in about 3, 5, 8 weeks, you'll be sitting on the front row and it won't mean anything to you. It'll be completely normal. There's only one other place to go that's farther forward, at the church, dude. You're going to be given the mic to preach. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Pastor Myers, come on up to the stage.
Dude, I love that, man. And someone could be listening to this and be like, well, that's so simple. Of course anyone could sit in the front seat, but that's not what we're talking about here. It's the fear of the unknown, the uncertainty. And that would be very difficult for a lot of people, because there's, hundreds, thousands people in there. And all eyes are on the back of and you just don't know what to expect from that. But yeah, so that's good for you for pushing past. And what did it mean to you doing it? Like, what was your thought process? Okay, I know it's going to be this is a difficult situation. It's brand new. There's no real danger there, but it's the fear in your mind, like the story. What did you think you were going to get out of it? And was it what you expected?
Yeah, absolutely. 100% it was. I was really looking forward to it, because the thing is, I've put myself in those environments, and typically, like, if you've ever done something out of your comfort zone, if you've ever done something uncertain to you, right? Whether that's running a half marathon or marathon, doing a cold plunge, speaking in front of 5 people, 2 people, doing a podcast, opening up a business, whatever, right? Doing something that is going to be completely unknown to you, completely uncertain. Here is the key ingredient. You ready? When you actually do it, right, you're failing forward. And so whether it's a success or whether it's a stepping stone to where you want to be and who you want to become, I want to be more confident, right? Then now that I've opened up this business, done a half marathon, done a cold plunge, it may have sucked, but that's the whole point of embracing it. Because
it sucks until it doesn't suck.
Exactly. And so that's my point, is it's the person, when you take that leap of faith, they call it leap of faith for a reason. You take that leap, that one step forward of getting outside of your cozy, warm covers, right? And when you do that, you feel, it's the fight or fight. You feel so uncomfortable. You feel so weird. You feel so awkward. And here's the thing. Nobody else around you cares. You're the only one internalizing, right?
No one really cares.
And so to build that confidence is to be a front seater. And I think that's so important in anything that you do, right? You go to a convention, you go to church. Try that, right? Try being a front seater. Maybe it's the second row, third row. And I think that's...
And you said it too. Look who you were sitting next to. Pastor's up front. Not that the pastor's anybody special as such. He's leading the church, and he's got a really important job and everything. And he's still a man, though, just like you are, like I am, and like a woman. That we're just people. But you're going to be connected to a higher level of person. He's the one leading. So now you're next to the leader up front, and who knows where that relationship can go. Like getting into the hospital story. Like it's almost exactly the same feelings, the fears. I'm going into an environment I don't understand. I don't know what's going to happen here. But in the hospital is where the people are that I need to get to know. And outside of the hospital, I'm never going to get to know them out there. So you have to go through that element, that level of fire, to get what it is to get to the next level.
You have to.
You have to.
It's the only way.
Yeah, there's no comfortable way to success. I've never seen it.
Right.
I mean, you just can't do it. But
You have to stay uncomfortable.
second, make eye contact.
This one's huge.
Yeah, it is. I often wonder, like my Scottish angry stare. Sometimes I'm listening to someone, I'm watching them, and I'm like, oh man, am I giving them like the angry stare? Because sometimes I get zoned in on people.
Like right now?
Yeah, like right now, dude. Don't look away. Who's gonna blink first? But yeah, it's so important. I notice with kids, teenagers, they have not got that level of confidence yet. They just see older people as authorities, and it's hard to look at authorities in the eye because you don't know what they can do. They have power over you, right? And so I'm teaching my son, hey, when you want to tell me something, man, look me in the eyes. Don't be afraid of me. I'm not your boss. I'm your dad, right? And you are your own man yourself. Even though you're 8, you're a being that is in control of his own destiny as far as his actions. And you should be confident at all times, at least in yourself. Maybe not in the situation, but so I'm teaching him to look me in the eyes, and he's getting good at it. And he's becoming that leader himself, you know. So, do you remember a time where you didn't look people in the eyes?
100%. Yeah. So I'm 37, just turned 37 last week, February 2nd, Groundhog Day. And probably up until, I would say, even through college at SFA, I wouldn't look certain, guys, confident guys in the eyes. And it was a hit or a miss. It was inconsistent. And I didn't put a finger to it at the time. But reflecting back and dissecting it, I was definitely not confident. I was trying to be a chameleon. I was trying to adapt to that environment that I was in, and it would pull who I was. I couldn't show up my best self, right? Because I was trying to be somebody I wasn't in that environment. And so with that being said, what does that do to my confidence? Yeah. It depletes it. And so I wouldn't be able to look people in the eye. And now I feel like fast forward in moving forward, it's just like, okay, you can look at it as, well, I feel uncomfortable. There is awkward, right? Whatever it is. But it's a muscle that you must flex. It's a skill to me that you build over time, and it allows you to feel good. And that
means a lot to the other person too.
Yeah.
Because if you're not looking, it can impact them as well. Yeah. As opposed to you have that confidence. And there's some skills to that too. I think there's a time kind of rule, like 3 to 7 seconds. You can look at someone in the eyes and you can look away for a sec and then look back, or you can look at the mouth and look at the forehead and back to the eyes. And you're not like darting your eyes all around, but just naturally, it's just in good conversation, shows you're paying attention, but you're not just, like I said before, this stare. You're not like, it's not an angry, intense type thing, but it's a muscle that can be built, and I think it does bring confidence. And when Tony Robbins talks about the state that you're in, if you're hunched over in a chair and your head's down, you're looking at a phone, that's actually a depressed state. Like literally your body's depressed into itself, compressed, as opposed to you put your shoulders back, chest out, stand up and put your hands on your hips. This is clinically studied, the testosterone and the confidence levels in people who do that posture versus the other posture, they feel confident, right? So when you're looking down, head down, that is signaling to your brain, danger zone. Not confident, as opposed to you train yourself to look at 1% better in the confidence box that you get to be in, So I think definitely a skill that needs to be learned at a young age too, so that by the time you're older, it's not even an issue, So,
well, I think it goes back and ties to like when you are able to look somebody in the eye, it's because you know who you authentically are. When you don't know who authentically you are, right, then there's a lack of confidence there. So you can sit here, somebody listening to this, maybe like, okay, yeah, I just got to stare somebody in the eye and build confidence. I think the prerequisite to that, the precept is to find out who you are, right, and you do that. It's probably for another episode, but when you find out who you are, you can own that. And that shows up in your body language. That shows up in your eyes when you stare at people. And then also too, what you're talking about. If you don't know what you're talking about, that's true. Right? So you tend to look off unless, depending on what you're talking about, you may be thinking. But for me, it's if you know who you are authentically, man, that just allows you to do these own these situations, be a front seater, stare people in the eye.
I think I've mentioned this before, but courage is required when you're afraid, and you have to muster courage up and to take action, which is fantastic. Yeah. But once you're confident, you don't need courage anymore. Confidence is constant courage, because doing courageous things, you build the experience, right, and then you become confident in that zone. You don't need to muster up courage anymore because you've already done it so many times. And so I think, being confident in that area, like you're saying, because it's funny, because I know some people very excellent at business, very confident speaking in front of people, but then I've seen them interact with women. If it's a pretty girl, they crumble. Yeah. It's very interesting. And then I've seen guys who are very comfortable talking to pretty girls, and then they get up in front of the stage and completely. So the confidence doesn't necessarily transfer. Yeah. You actually have to do those things over and over and be good at those things to build that confidence in that area, which I just think is interesting. You have to earn it, man. You got to pay the man. Yeah. And Josh Bridges.
Following the third tip, this one is fun.
Walk 25% faster.
Yeah. Every time I'm around, like when we go places, I'm like, why do people walk so slow? Like I look back, I'm like, why do people walk so slow, man?
That's why me and you get on. So I'm a fast walker too.
Fast walker, baby.
I'm like speed walker, and I don't realize it. Like, who's a fat? My mom is a fast walker.
Quick walker.
Yeah, she's like confident. Maybe 5'6".
Is she confident?
Yes, she would appear that she would probably tell you she's not, but she's fierce. Like she's an angel from heaven. Like I don't know if she's ever done anything wrong ever in her entire life, which can't be true, but it just seems that way. But you do not want to be on our bad side. But like she is. Yeah, I'm 6'2", 6'3" with shoes on. She's 5'5", and I have a hard time keeping up my mom walking. My dad's 6'5". He's got long legs, so he just takes one big step, So yeah, maybe that's why. She's had to keep up with my dad this whole time. But.
So why do you think people walk? So why do you think walking 25% faster portray confidence?
It sounds cheesy, but like when you kind of know where you're going, you do walk faster. I just want to get there quicker, and as opposed to the saunter. Yeah. It's almost painful for me to saunter. Like museums, as much as I love a museum or whatever, I'm like, I am not moving right now. It starts to hurt. When I'm moving, it doesn't hurt. When I stop and stand, like after a while, it's the pain kicks in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I feel like if you're walking 25% faster, you're on a mission. Whether it's a mission, go to church, you're excited to be there, or it's shooting a podcast or a run, whatever it may be, you're on a mission. So
it's like Tony about the state, like being depressed versus hands on hips, chest out, here the hero pose, walking fast. I think it also does something for the mind. Like, it's just the confidence. Like your state is in motion, going forward, and actually moving forward. You have to scan with your eyes. That's how we walk forward. Yeah. And moving your eyes side to side can actually take you out of anxious states. And so moving forward actually builds confidence because you're just in forward motion. Yeah. I thought I'd just throw that in there. Yeah.
Fourth tip, speak up.
This was a tough one for me back in the day. I had dyslexia, ADHD growing up, and I was always petrified of saying the wrong thing. I wouldn't know if the answer would be right or not because I can make any answer right in my mind. Even if it's wrong, I'll make it convincing. Yeah. And so, but if it's a yes or no, right or wrong type thing in a classroom environment, and I wasn't sure, I would just be petrified of getting it wrong, and I always thought I was dumb and thought, man, I can't, I don't want to look foolish. The thought of being wrong, not being perfect, that is not a zone I want to be in. So it was like fear of failure. Yeah. And so, even in college, man, like, the thought of it. Now, like I have to tell people on the left or right of me, hey, if I put my hand up, make sure you keep pulling it down because I'm going to talk. I'm going to say something. What about you?
Yeah, no, that's the way I look at it is when you speak up, man, because here's the thing, the way I look at it, you got two choices, right? So if you speak up, it's going to allow you to share what's on your mind, right? Which is what your beliefs are, which are aligned with your values and what you're all about, right? And that's what I look at, like speaking up, whether it's in a classroom setting, at a mastermind group, in a meeting, whatever it may be, right? And so when you speak up, because here's the thing, there may be 10 other people in the room, or 5 other people, or 50 other people. Here's the thing, some people are going to disagree with what you say, but there's going to be people in there that agree with you as well. So when you speak up, right, the right ones will lean in and go, and they'll have your back. Same thing on social media and in communities, right? When you speak up, but we still don't do it, right? And so this is one of the confidence building tips is to speak up.
Which you make sure that you have to make sure you're saying something. You have something to say. I know a lot of guys, being in the corporate world, they're just talking to talk. They're speaking up, and it's like, this is literally, they just want to hear their own voice right now. They're not bringing value by saying what they're saying. I'm not understanding why. So if you're going to speak up, I just think it needs to be, you're bringing a valuable point to help other people and move things forward, right? Like to bring value to the conversation as opposed to some tangent that doesn't help anybody. It's I guess it depends on the environment you're in, but if you're there for a specific reason, let's keep it on that reason. You know what I mean? And speak up and because, everybody has something valuable to say.
When I say speak up, when I think about speak up, and if, like you said, it's different in different environments. But for me, it's like, it's important to like, if you believe in something, then speak up, right? And but a lot of times people don't. They don't speak up on what they believe in, and then they walk away with their tail between their legs. And what does that do to your confidence?
That's true. If you had something to say and you held on to it because you were afraid of the outcome, that is something you've got to push through and to hang with the consequences, because people need your voice. I'm speaking to you listening right now. That speak up. If you got something to say and you know it's right, or even if it has a hint of value, then say it, because I want to hear it. I'm the person that wants to hear it. I know you are too, because I'm no guru, and you know that too. Like you feel the same way. So. Last one, smile big. You said that was the big bonus.
Smile big, man.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, so for me, it's this was a tough one for me, and because a lot of times, like, we go through life and we have our ups and downs, we have our challenges, we have our obstacles, and I've been saying this lately, like, success is how you feel, right? Do you feel good or do you not feel good? Is there pain? Is there, if you go through your day? And so for me, it's like, I've been that guy where I've been angry, I've been frustrated, I've been down because things weren't going the way it wanted to go, that I wanted it to go, right? Which is a lot of us, people listening to this, is they're not in control of the day's in control of them, right? And so what does that do to you, man? That freaking frustrates you because you're not in control. And so smiling big, I think this is the most important one. It's amazing what it does, that muscle, just putting ear to ear.
It's infectious.
Right, it's infectious.
You're smiling and it's making me smile.
Exactly. And so when you're having a bad day, right, which we all do, some more than others and some less, so put a smile on your face, right?
Did you see my reel yesterday? The reel?
On Facebook?
Yeah.
The running?
The running.
Yeah, I loved it and I commented.
And it was about the kids. It was basically smile. And because it impacts people's day, those little kids that cheer me on when I'm running, want to run with me. Yes. It's hilarious. The little legs is like they're trying. I can see the start going down the sidewalk. There's no chance they're keeping up with me, but I see the parent running after them to catch them. and I was like, hiya. They're always like, hiya, like way down the street. I'm like, hiya. And I run and they're like cheering. And a number of times they're like, there's the runner. And because I'm there, I'm so consistent and they're consistent. And then the high school kids at 7 come out and I'm like, hey, how you doing? And it's like head down, hoodie on. Like they cannot look up, no eye contact.
On the phone.
Yeah, on the phone. And man, yesterday I got a guy to say hello, and I was like, come on, man. I was feeling good, and he had his head down. He was like, hey, how you doing? And so it felt awesome, man. I knew to myself that he's not said hello before, so something changed, so maybe he's leveled up a little bit by 100%. Saying something out loud, maybe he now has a little bit more confidence to say hello to more people, and so, the importance of when those kids do it makes me go faster, like that they're smiling, they're cheering, and that, look at the opposite of that, like those high school kids, like, man, it's quite depressing. There's no feedback, but I'm not going to stop saying hello to them. I'm going to keep saying hello because I'm not going to stop because they don't do it. They're going to do it because I do it. Yes. Right. So
beautifully said, man.
I thought it was funny when I saw that smile big yesterday. So
no, you hit the nail right on the head. And I think that's so important because even when you don't feel like it, you do it anyways. Not only does it impact you, but it impacts the people around you. And so I still, it's a challenge that I challenge myself all the time. And it's interesting because over the years, people are like, man, you have all this energy, right? Behind the scenes, I'm an introvert, right? And so the reason I do it is because when I smile, like everything lifts up. The person that you're with, the people that you're with, the community that you're with. And even on like social media, it's like And now I'm like this different person, like this better version of myself because of the people that I've impacted, but now they've impacted me because now they're smiling.
It's a spiral up.
It's a spiral up, you know? So I'm like, well, dude, like I just want to, now I don't smile 24/7, you know?
You can, but it's important to do it like more often than not.
Right.
Yeah, because again, man, the state, even if you're not in a good mood, if you put a smile on, or they say put your teeth together.
Yeah.
The muscles in your face will signal to the brain that you're in a happy mode, and it will slowly but surely, gradually get you out of that mode. So it's very important to smile.
Yeah, love that. So 5 tips: be a front seater, make eye contact, walk 25% faster, speak up, and smile big.
Amen.
Amen.
Level up and live, man.
Level up and live. And there you have it. I hope you're feeling inspired and ready to conquer the world with a newfound confidence. Remember, the journey to self-discovery is ongoing, so keep leveling up and living your best life. If you've enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss a life-changing episode, and share the love with someone who could use a confidence boost. And hey, check out our show notes for a wealth of free guides and planners designed to support you on your journey. Until next time, keep walking a little faster, speaking a little louder, and smiling a whole lot bigger. This is Sean Myers signing off from Level Up and Live. Stay confident and keep living your best life.